if we talk about these goggles, do they have that? One way I can think about this guy is he has his phone and he's integrating with reality with it, right? And then these goggles, they kind of take you away from reality, right? So they might be great for entertainment, but then when it kind of, is there an opportunity to make this something that you have to use at work or you have to use to be productive and then can multiply your productivity?
Oh, I'll give you a perfect use case that's not entertainment oriented. I do a lot of video editing. I do podcasts. I do all the post-production editing. And as you know, because you probably do it yourself, when you try to do that on a 13-inch, 14-inch laptop, it's very difficult because video editing by nature is a very linear type of thing. And very frequently, right now, I'm in front of a big HP 45-inch widescreen. It's lovely to do video editing because I have all this real estate. Well, you don't have that advantage when you're traveling. And I'm very frequently on the road. I'm in a hotel room. I don't drag a 45-inch display with me. So what the Vision Pros can do is you can take your desktop from your Mac, and ultimately I'm sure there'll be apps out there that allow you to do this with Windows as well, and you can move your desktop into that virtual window. So all of a sudden now, I'm in a cramped hotel room. I could have several 80-inch monitors virtually in that desktop. So there's enormous productivity advantages to that. Think about that being on a plane. Now, I've debated this with different people that I respect, and a lot of people say, well, I would not wear that on a plane. Well, I don't know about that. I think that if you want to make...
I think I would wear it on a plane, actually. In fact, that might be the perfect place to wear it.
It's not going to get stolen on a plane. As far as I know, well, someone might try to do that if you fall asleep. But
he has this. He doesn't have He doesn't have too many places to go.
I would not wear them on the New York City subway or on a bus probably. But just to be very direct, I just came back from Germany. I went to IFA, which is a big technology trade show, and that was a 14-hour flight on the way back. And how many movies can you watch on the plane? And by the way, the planes all have the same damn movies, and there's not a lot of content that's mixed up. If I had those Vision Pros on the plane, I could have absolutely done a tremendous amount of work, from my desk without, with the laptop closed, because that's the other problem when you're working with a laptop on a plane, because you put the screen up and some person in front of you, adjusts the seat, and all of a sudden you break the screen in half. So there's all kinds of usage models that I think are going to be very, very compelling, and productivity ones, not entertainment, sure. Yeah, watching a movie on a 100-inch virtual display will blow your mind. Will that justify you going out and spending?
Being in the movie or being the main character.
There will be applications like that do that. But I'm convinced this is the one advantage that Apple has. And they talked a little bit about this during the announcement. If you believe Apple, and I tend to believe them, it's not all hyperbole, they have a tremendous developer community. They have tens of thousands who've made lots of money, Chris, developing apps for the iPhone, developing apps for their other devices. They have that as part of their ecosystem. And I am convinced that the killer app, when you use the phrase killer app, that kind of dates me, but the killer app is like a Lotus 123 or a VisiCalc in the day. And what that means to the average person who's ever heard that phrase before is that the app is so compelling and so interesting and can change your life in such profound ways, you've got to go out and buy the platform that runs that. That was true of 123. Initially, only Lotus 123 ran on the IBM PC, and they ultimately ran on clones. But you had to buy a PC. You couldn't run it on an Apple.
Or for something newer, or something like Excel, right? Excel is sort of the modern version of some of the things you talked about that everybody knows.
That's exactly right. So there's going to be a lot of, there's a lot of folks who, they're a bit, I don't know what, I wouldn't say that they're jealous of Apple, but when you look, the community that I operate in, the analyst community, you got people who tend to be pro-Apple, and you have some people who tend to be pro-Windows. And they're all very good people, and they're very independent. But Apple has been so enormously successful in most of the stuff they do. It's not that they don't have misfires every once in a while, but...
Right, but it's rare. It's way less misfires than most other organizations. They've been quite tight,
Right. And most companies, by the way, would like to have the kind of success with their misfires, let alone they're the ones that really take off. But for the most part, they have a very high batting average. They probably are batting, to use a baseball analogy, they get hits 8 out of 10 times. But the reality is that since the PC community doesn't really have the kind of eco that Apple ultimately has, the challenge that you have is that you have kind of sluggish growth right now, and that's what I think. That's what the concern is. But I do think if I look at one bright spot in the space, I think Vision Pro could be a big deal. Now, in a strange way, I'm going to make a statement here. I think the PC community left for Vision Pro because Apple's not going to have 100% of that market. There's going to be someone else that comes forward, whether it's a Samsung, probably going to be a Samsung, or someone that's going to come out with a comparable platform at a lot lower price, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what, and this.
I think the price is where they're going to lose a lot of market share. But I don't think they care. They never sort of cared about that sort of thing. Yeah, they don't care. But something that might be interesting is because, the iPhone, the status symbol of the iPhone, sort of just the way people see it. It wasn't about technology. The technology is great. It's seamless. I think the thing about the iPhone is just like, it doesn't cause you problems. So if you don't care about technology, iPhone is a perfect phone for you, right? You just, okay, it works. And like, look, it looks nice. And like, there's a lot of this. In fact, that's most people. But when we talk about the Vision Pro, because of the way you use it, it can still go in that direction where it just mostly works and sort of win that. But while you're using it, you don't see other people see you use it. So, do you know what I mean? So you don't get that feedback loop of, this is how people perceive me because I'm using this technology. I must use it always, right? So that social capital, it's going to be harder for them to, I don't know for sure, but it might be harder for them to sit on top of that and use that to grow in the same way they did with the iPhones. There's something new might come out of there. My analysis might be, nothing's, you can't analyze what hasn't happened. But I think that's an interesting thing. I want to see how that do it.
Well, it's a brand new category. Many people don't quite get it, to be very honest with you. Guys like me, guys like you that kind of are into technology, we get it and we're excited. We're early adopters and we love that kind of stuff. But that's not the majority of the audience. And I think what Apple does better than anybody on the planet, and I say this in a very independent, third-party way, they can take very complex topics and they can articulate it in such a way that people get. And by the way, they have hundreds of Apple stores across the country, across the globe. They are second to none in terms of when you walk into an Apple store, articulating in a very non-confrontational, understandable way to the average person, hey, here's how this device can change your life. Now, I'll give you a perfect example. They showed a little bit about this during WWDC when they kind of announced the Vision Pro, but I really think some type of XR version of FaceTime. Let me take a step back. If you recall, before Apple came out with FaceTime video conference, there was Skype, right? There was Skype, pretty complex to use, but if you wanted a video conference, you could do it. But it wasn't really a mainstream thing. People who were doing Skype and other video conferencing, it was really more of a B2B type of thing. FaceTime democratized it. It was so simple to use. Your mom could use FaceTime, And I think what's going to happen right now, if they create some type of XR version of FaceTime, where you think, people who are wearing these goggles, even if they're in remote locations, if you think that you're in the same room with the other person, that's a game changer. Especially if you're my mom, she's still in good shape, but she doesn't travel a lot. She loves the FaceTime, but I suspect, and since she doesn't travel a lot, if she could see her grandkids or her extended family in a almost like an in-person way without leaving her residence, that's a game changer. And you could see a lot of people upgrading purely for that capability.
If you like what you saw, take a look at the description. You'll see segments. You'll see the full podcast. Go take a look. Please go listen. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. We'll see you later.